you have a culture whether you realize it or not, right? And if you ignore it, then it becomes something that takes a life of its own. And if you're intentional about it, intentional about shaping it, intentional about how you do one-on-ones and how you evaluate people and the types of experiences you create for your employees and even the types of systems you build, if you kind of just let that go to the wind, it will take shape on its own, right? And so, as a leader, I have to take responsibility for not paying attention to those things. And it wasn't that like it wasn't things that a lot of people were like, well, what does that mean, right? Like you can easily, well, we had like good benefits, right? But that's just one part of this larger company culture, right? You have to be really, really intentional about the details and what are the things that are culture busters. And so, one of the things that we really value in our team is trust. Like every new employee who comes here will say after 6 or 8 months, like, you guys talk about trust and onboarding and how people give it away, and we already have it. But if you come from a broken culture, right, it's really hard to understand that right away. And because you're not sure if they actually mean it, because so many people say things that they don't mean in other companies. And so it takes some getting used to. But what we were like noticing was a disrespect of people, which goes against that value of trust, right? You can't necessarily continue to disrespect somebody, right? And then be dependent on them trusting you and you trusting them, right? That kind of erodes trust. So that was like one area that like part of me as a leader, and any leader listening in the agency space, you really have to do like internal reflective work when you own a business, because there are things that you like want to do. Like we get into work because we love the creative work. We love working with clients or whatever it is. There's this thing, but you as a leader have to know all these other things that you do or don't do or impact your employees and the culture. And so for me, I have a self-deprecating sense of humor, and I don't micromanage. And those two things in conjunction with kind of not paying attention and created this weird petri dish for people to be disrespectful and to control things that shouldn't have been controlled, right? Because I'm thinking everyone is not a micromanage, and so therefore no one should control things, right? Like, so my second layer of leadership is doing the same thing because that's what I want. Turns out that's not always the case, right? Then you're like after the fact, there's these crazy stories where people were telling me like, yeah, we were told we couldn't talk to you. And I was like, how has that happened? My door's right here. You sit out right out there in front of my door. What do you mean you can't? My door's always open, except for now I'm recording a podcast. How does that happen? How does that happen? And I own the company and I don't know that's happening. And so while it's totally healthy to give leadership away, and I highly recommend it from a culture standpoint, what you can't do is give it away and ignore it, right? Which is what I was doing as a leader.